Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for all the Tauruses out there. Taurians, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. It is Taurus season today. Sun moved into Taurus, so happy birthday to all you Tauruses out there. I hope you have a wonderful Taurus season ahead. Not easy with the way things are at the moment, I fully understand, and maybe you'll have to celebrate later when all of this is over, but I just hope you have a really good time for your birthday and make the most of a probably difficult situation. So I'm going to start the reading with a major Arcana card. Although I haven't really said anything about you cross-watchers out there at this moment in time. And I also haven't said anything about the fact that this is a general read as well, rather than a kind of a personal, private read. So it's not going to resonate with all Taurians out there as well. I just have to put that out there. And so you may want to check out your Moon, Venus and Rising signs as well, Taurus, to see if any of those placements make more sense to you. And Taurus cross-watchers, you may also want to check out your own Moon, Venus and Rising to see if you can find your story there. Cross-watchers, this may make more sense to you as well. You may find that as you're watching this that you are actually listening to your own story rather than the person that you thought you were listening for, which you could be in a relationship with now, or you have been in a relationship, or you want to be in a relationship with a Taurus. Just be aware that this could also be your story that you're hearing rather than theirs. So it's worth checking out. And if you don't know where those placements are, there will be, as ever, a free natal link in the description box down below so that you can go and check it out for yourselves. It's always good to know where all your planets are. Helps with the bigger astrology that's happening in the skies globally all the time. Things are shifting and moving, and it can help to make sense of all the chaos that happens and the shifting planets. I also do, for anybody who hasn't visited my channel before, I also do the new moons, full moons and any major transits of planets into another sign, or also if they're meeting up with other planets and there's a big energy. Because of that, I will also do a reading at those times as well. So they're all up on my channel. Thank you anybody who has subscribed to my channel. I do really appreciate it. And for anybody who has thumbs up my videos lately, thank you very much for that as well. I really do appreciate that. So I'm going to say that again, for anybody who likes my video, please thumbs it up, because it does get it out into the bigger YouTube world, and it is why us YouTubers on these channels are constantly saying please like our videos, thumbs them up, because YouTube tend to ignore videos otherwise. So the more likes they get, the more interest, the more they will be put out there into the bigger kind of choice of videos, and the more people can come back and have a look at my channel and see if it's for them or not for them. So anybody who hasn't subscribed yet, if you feel so inclined, please could you do so. I will appreciate that too. And also tap that bell so that you can get future videos as well, ones that I'm yet to put out. Like I said, this is Taurus season, so for me this is a whole new cycle of doing readings from Taurus right up until Gemini. So when Gemini season starts, it will be the end of my cycle of videos, during which time I will also be doing the new and full moon. So starting your video, Taurus, today, starting your reading, we have, as I take one card out of this deck for the overall kind of picture, the overall flavour of what's happening in the reading and in your life at this moment, we have the Death card, Taurus, which can mean many different things, but for me mostly it will mean transformation. It means for me, Taurus, you are undergoing a process of death, in the sense of this being you leaving your old self behind and rebirthing yourself into something new. This is Pluto energy. Pluto at the moment is in Capricorn. And so Pluto has been and still is trining over to the Taurus energy. So you will be being affected by it, especially if you have anything in the kind of later half of Taurus, because Pluto at this moment in time is at 24 degrees. So anything kind of 21 degrees onwards, up to about 27 degrees of Taurus, will be being affected by this. And Pluto, of course, is the big kind of destroyer. It kind of, when Pluto affects us, affects our life, it's kind of an ending of things, it's a finishing, it's kind of the time is up. Whatever it's affecting, it's like there's change coming. It's over, it's done, move on type of energy, really. So with this, which is what caught my eye today, Taurus, it was this flower here, and I see this as quite a spiritual kind of symbol. The symbolism here, I see it as a kind of, what I was getting when I was actually shuffling the cards earlier, what came into my head during the kind of meditation period previous to that as well, was light in the darkness. If you shine the light, there is no more darkness. So maybe that's also something that this card is saying. It's time to shine that light in the darkness, Taurus. Also, the 10th house for Taurus, taking it from the first house of Taurus being your first house. The 10th house of Capricorn for Taurians is actually the 9th house of all the Sagittarius energy as well. So it can also be about a spiritual kind of awakening, if you like, a spiritual growth, a new what am I getting here? Kind of a new upgrade in a way. Like the ending of that cycle of kind of how you believed things to be, and a kind of reawakening to something else, something different. And there's also this unicorn down here as well, which of course is, I see this as a unicorn. I don't know if it actually is, but to me it looks like a unicorn. So I see it as a unicorn, which is a kind of mythical beast as well. So there's a sense of kind of, again, mythic kind of story, spirituality here. The unicorn being the magical creature that, you know, everybody kind of seeks that unicorn. There's something very unique about a unicorn, something very special, very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, I think kind of unique really is coming through more than anything else at the moment. You know, it's a unique being, and maybe that's also something, Taurus, you need to realise that you yourself have your own uniqueness, and that you are like that inner person that you've been up to now is kind of, you're leaving that behind, that is dying, and you're moving into some new form of yourself, this rebirth, this kind of process that you've been going through. So that's the overall energy that I'm getting there. And then we have at the heart of your reading today two very solid earth cards, Taurus, which is very apt for Taurian, being earth energy. So with this one here, It's saying to me that this is totally what you're focusing on at the moment. You are focusing on your values, which I'm not surprised about, because the sun has just moved into Taurus, and we also have Uranus in Taurus at the moment as well. So Uranus is kind of asking us to check in on the changing. Again, I feel something to do with this death card here as well, the kind of changing of your values and your systems, and the way that you have in many ways, it's a kind of conditioning, kind of sense of conditioning, and you're kind of breaking out of that conditioning in a way. With this rebirth, with this renewal, this to me is kind of a renewal type card. Because it's an ace, it's an energy that kind of comes in very quickly. And it's kind of saying, you know, you need to do something with this now. You've got this energy, now do something with it. Where are you going to put it? What are you going to put it into? There's a very kind of lushness about this card. I really like this card just because I kind of feel it's very emotional driven as well with this water here. It's your values, but your values are kind of based in your emotions as well. Because our emotions in many ways do drive our values. If there isn't an emotional response to what we value, then we tend, like, we won't value it. And it's kind of like, you know, what's the point? So I feel, Taurus, that at this moment in time you are very focused on this. You're very focused on your value, your environment maybe as well. I know we're all kind of stuck at home at the moment and it's kind of a difficult time, but this is very earth energy. It's very grounded energy, and it's covered by this card here, which the King of Pentacles is the kind of epitome of this energy. It's kind of like he, in this deck, this is Midas, King Midas, and King Midas, kind of everything he touched turned to gold, which isn't always, you know, the best thing. You might think on some level, you know, that this is everything. This is kind of, you know, how can you go wrong if you've got that kind of Midas touch? But the Midas touch can also be a curse, as much as it can be a gift. And it's all about, I feel, because this is the underneath this, I feel that it's all about kind of learning the value, the true value, if you like, of what it is you value. If you understand what I mean by that, you know, what is it that's important to you? Is it just about being driven by money and having to create your security through money? Because there is a sense of need for security with this earth energy as well, Taurus, and Taurians do like their security, but they can misplace that security. They can trust in something very physical for their security, but which, as we're all kind of experiencing at this moment in time, can be very easily removed from us, or, like, you know, it can slip through our fingers quite quickly in a physical sense, not being able to get out and kind of carry on earning. So you may feel at the moment, Taurus, you're on quite kind of like dodgy ground in a way, that you aren't kind of, and I feel this with the death card here as well, that this is kind of transforming what you thought, is that the right way? Transforming what you thought was your security, what you've always placed your security in the very physical realm. but that's being challenged, I feel, at this moment in time. This is the Capricorn energy as well. And as I was saying, Pluto is literally in Capricorn at the moment. You can see here the goat in the background. So it kind of represents that earthy Capricorn energy, which is all about our work, how we make our money, how we you know, how we appreciate it as well. Because if it comes too easily, if we do have that Midas touch and it comes too easily, then it can be very kind of, you know, flippant. It can be this very kind of like, you know, whatever type of energy about it. We don't kind of appreciate it or feel gratitude for it because it's just there until it isn't. And then we have to kind of deal with that as a loss as well. But there is this transformation taking place, and I feel that it's taking place on a very kind of physical, financial, all the things that you kind of have taken for granted, Taurus, in many ways, kind of level. But you are very focused on you at this moment. I see this energy very much as being your energy. So what's in your head, Taurus? We have the Hangman. The Hangman, it's an energy of kind of sacrifice and surrender and kind of limbo land for me. So I always think of this as just being kind of hanging in limbo, almost like, you know, you're just waiting for things to change. There's nothing you can do about it, so you're kind of just letting go, because you know that at this time you can't force anything to change. It's this process here. It's like realizing that you have to let this happen in the right time and in the right way. And because this is a major arcana card, this could be a long-lasting energy as well. You may feel as though you've kind of been hanging there for a long time. And not necessarily feeling like you're getting much insight or answers. It can take a long time for things to kind of click into place with this, because it's also about perspective. It's also about kind of trying to see things in a different way. You know, it's like if you literally hang yourself upside down or stand on your head, like, you know, when you were a child, we used to do handstands or headstands, or you may still do them, some of you Taurus, and you do see things differently. The world takes on a different look entirely. So there's also a sense here for me of kind of giving yourself permission to be able to take that time out as well. And interestingly enough, underneath in your subconscious realm, you have this card in reverse as well. So today, for me, they have come through very, very similarly. The Four of Swords, when it's up the right way, literally talks about kind of taking time out for yourself, meditating, thinking things through slowly, carefully, not rushing into anything, allowing yourself to have space away from a situation, whatever that situation may be, in order to be able to see things differently. And when it's upside down, for me, it kind of says that this is an energy that is still ongoing. It's in your subconscious realm, so it's on a more of a feeling level. It's what you're feeling. It's kind of like it's a nagging thing. You know something is happening, but you're not necessarily totally aware of where it's coming from. It's also come out underneath with this. So there's 2 fours here. We've got the 4 of Cups and the 4 of Swords. And the 4 of Cups is saying, for me today, it's saying listen to your inner knowing. On whatever level that may be, Taurus. And Taurus cross watchers, listen to your inner knowing, because you've got these 2 sisters which kind of represent the voices in your head in some ways, and they're kind of questioning where you're at. Are you happy with where you're at? Do you need to change things? Do you need to look into things deeper? Because it's to do with emotions as well. With the 4 of Cups, it is about this kind of inner contentness. Do you have that inner contentness? Where are you trying to find that contentness? Are you looking outside of yourself for that contentness? Can you find it within? This card for me always reminds me of a kind of trying to feed an empty hole. And I kind of see this as kind of, you know, the shopaholic. You kind of want things to replace that empty hole or fill that empty hole, but it's kind of not satisfying. It's never enough. Never enough. And maybe that's what this King Midas is saying as well. But on some level, you keep kind of trying to find what you're looking for from without. And actually what you need to do is to go within and find it from within yourself in order to be able to change it. And also I feel to kind of let that go. Let that old story or that old part of yourself which you are hanging on to here, let it go. Because you also have leaving you, the energy that is leaving, that's been around for a while, the High Priestess energy here, which is the kind of subconscious realm. Again, another major Arcana card. So this is an energy that's probably been around for a while for you, Taurus, as well. A real sense of kind of having to try and get to the bottom of yourself on some level here. Trusting yourself, trusting your inner knowing, trusting your instincts, listening, like I was saying, listening to these inner voices here. Listening to your own feelings, your own knowing. Stop looking outside for your answers. That's what this card is saying to me today, the High Priestess. You need to go within. Taurus, and that this time that we're in at this moment is the perfect time to be doing this as well. But with this in reverse with the 4 swords here as well, I do feel that there's a lot of resistance in many ways to this. A lot of resistance to giving yourself that space and allowing yourself to. But it's in your head, it's kind of, you know, you need to. You know you need to go deeper, Taurus, on many levels. Because the High Priestess to me also talks about purity, which again I think is this flower here. that's something else that came through for me quite strongly earlier, which I didn't mention at the time, but there was a sense of, like, you know, a purity here, this pure white flower, the blooming of something new that is kind of growing out of that darkness. And that's how I see this card here as well, but she kind of represents this flower here by her innocence. She has a real innocence and a real naivety about her, and she was literally stolen by Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, and taken down into the underworld and forced to stay in the underworld until her mother forced Zeus to allow her back out again. So there is this real kind of innocence, and her story kind of, again with the dark and the, like the shadow and the light here, there is definitely something about this today. Shining a light in the dark, Taurus, is what comes through for me very strongly. Shine a light in the dark corners of your world. And this is what you will discover, I feel, as well. I feel that somehow, Taurus, you're frightened or scared to discover something you don't want to see, when actually what is there and what has been there all this time is this innocence, this purity that is you. As I was saying earlier, this uniqueness, this unique you. Again, this unicorn for me, kind of symbolic energy of uniqueness, and that's what I'm feeling. This is you. You are unique. And you need to own it as well, I feel, on some level as well. You need to own it. You need to kind of show it. Value it. Value it. Value your uniqueness. Stop hiding in the shadows. So this is the energy that's moving in, which is saying to me on some level that there could be a situation, Taurus, where you are going to be forced into kind of doing that. This is the card of choice. It is also the card of feeling like you have no choice, especially when it's in reverse. I mean, it does, in many ways, it portrays that energy anyway, because here, Apollo, the sun god, the patriarchal system, in many ways, is kind of pointing his finger and saying, like, you know, you have to do this. You have no choice. But we always have choice, even though the gods kind of ruled over our choices in many ways. If you go back to the time of these cards, the Greek period of history, and where these stories come from, we kind of, in many ways, human race gave their power away. And there maybe also that's what you're feeling here, Taurus, is that you don't have any choice, that you have to kind of do as you're told and kind of give your power away to something, that you can't show the real you. But that if you do, you will end up finding yourself in trouble. Somehow, some way. This card, being a 5, is all about adversity. So it's all about having to work through something that seems to be going against you, Taurus. And because it's got the Apollo, the god Apollo here, who's also the sun god, it's a very kind of patriarchal orientated, kind of established, shall we say, very powerful, very strong, very kind of like coming up against something that's very traditional. That's what I'm kind of getting from this card today. It's kind of something that's very traditional that you're having to kind of break away from, make choices about going against it. Feeling like you don't have the right or the choice to do that. So I'm going to pull some more cards, Taurus, and see what we come up with. So, a card for the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles for some clarity on why is the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles here today? What is the purpose? What is the reason? What is the message? Universe, please, for this. Okay. So we have two cards that have come out. We have the Messenger of Fire, which is a very kind of, for me, normally the Messenger of Fire is an energy that's very fast, active. It's an energy that doesn't settle easily. But in this card, I kind of find it as a protection energy, like she's kind of protecting herself here from something. And it has also got the Transformation card, which again is this card here, but at this time it's in reverse. So again, I'm seeing this kind of innocence in both of these cards here. Which I was talking about earlier with this card here as well. This innocence, this kind of uniqueness. And here, if you look at this card here, the transformational death card, the kind of rebirth, this is literally a phoenix kind of rising from these ashes here. But it is in reverse. And it's come out over the top of these two cards. So there's a lot of earth energy here, and a kind of, I feel, a lot of fire energy here as well. Both of these, transformation, phoenix, fire, the bird out of the flames. And I somehow feel that this card is the you looking back to your past here. Looking back on your past and kind of maybe being reluctant to move beyond what you know as well, what you trust, what you kind of, you know, what is your stability, your security, what you understand, Taurus, being very earthy. But this, the fact that this has come out again, and here it's reversed, is kind of saying to me that there is this reluctance for this transformation to take place. And with this hangman here as well, that it could be something that is a long process, Taurus, something that's been going on for quite some time here. And also with this Four of Swords underneath as well. So we'll see what else comes out here. But I do get a sense of this innocence. Possibly something kind of left in the past. Messenger of fire and transformation together, and just get quite a lot of fire, creative, transformational, phoenix rising from the ashes, but not, because Taurus is such a fixed sign as well. Taurus does not find it easy to move beyond themselves, shall we say, Taurus. And I can say that because I am a Taurus, so I know. I know. So anybody who does want to comment or complain, or I know what it's like. I am a Taurus. I have 4 planets in Taurus, so I am very Taurian, and 2 planets in Virgo, so I'm very earth-bound energy. So I can understand the reluctance for that to be happening, Taurus, at this moment in time, especially this kind of transformational energy when everything else seems so insecure and unstable as it is, you know, globally. If you look around the world and everything that's going on, it's all very kind of like, you know, shaky, shall we say. But there does seem to be, I think also that there does seem to be this messenger of fire, because this energy is very kind of fast moving, like I was saying. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence energy, the messenger of fire. He kind of doesn't settle on things easily. He doesn't kind of stay in one place. The messenger of fire is always kind of moving on. And in a sense, they do that because they are protecting their inner self on some level as well. This may also have something to do with this here, protecting your inner child, maybe. So there is this reluctance to allow yourself to go through this process, Taurus. And I feel also that you don't know what's going to happen on the other side of this as well, and that can be another reason for Taurus to not want to kind of venture into the unknown area, which death is an unknown area. This transformation, you don't know what's going to come out the other side. You don't know how your life is going to turn and change and move forward, and there's so many unknowns in transformation that it can be a very kind of, I get the feeling of, again, just kind of trying to avoid it, trying to kind of knowing on some level that you've got to go through it, but at the same time you're kind of trying to stay the same. Taurus is what I'm kind of feeling and picking up here. Because that's the thing about the messenger of fire energy, it's kind of, they want to stay the same. They want to, the reason they don't settle easily and they don't kind of stick around long in kind of creative pursuits or relationships as well, is because they have this kind of driving urge to protect themselves, protect their lifestyle, to not have to answer to anybody else. So there could also be a reason. I just feel that on some level, Taurus, there's this kind of almost like, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to see it, I don't want to take any notice of it. If I look over here, if I look over here, if I keep looking back at my life, then I won't have to go through this process. I can avoid it, but you can't avoid it, Taurus. It's something you can't avoid it. It's calling strongly, I feel. And you've come out over the top of the Hangman with the Three of Water in reverse. And the Three of Water, Three of Cups card for me is about kind of, again, it's that avoidance. If you see here, she's not quite put her hand on this shell here. She's kind of hasn't quite decided for me whether or not she's going to accept this. Whether she wants it, whether she doesn't want it. Is it going to be the right thing to do? Is it going to... And there's a lot of confusion here as well. If you look at this card, there's a lot of kind of murkiness in this card. It's kind of, there's not a lot of clarity. It's not very clear. It's all very kind of... And I feel that that's how you kind of see your future at this time, Taurus. There's not a lot of... I just keep feeling like the goat, like a Capricorn. I know Taurus is a bull, but it's like kind of trying to put that step one. It's kind of like you feel as though you've climbed high enough and you don't want to go any higher. You feel kind of as though you're losing touch with ground level in a way, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like, you know, this energy of the Pentacles here, the groundedness, the kind of needing that solid energy to stay fixed in, is kind of being taken away. And you don't know whether you should accept, whether you want to kind of, you know, and I don't think this is to do with a relationship, even though it's cups. This is emotional. This is about your kind of inner world, your own deep emotions. And just this sense of, I often say about the pearl as well, if anybody's watched my previous videos, the pearl being something that the oyster makes because it's an irritant rather than something that it kind of creates because it wants to. It doesn't do it because it wants to, because it thinks, oh, that's a really beautiful thing, I'll make that. But there's a sense of that process. That's what I'm feeling today. The sense of that process of you being this pearl being you, but you not knowing if you want to be that pearl. So you're kind of pushing it away, but at the same time you want to accept it, you want to pull it closer. And again, I'm getting the feeling with this unicorn and this flower up here, this sense of transformation and purity, and that you are the pearl. You are kind of undergoing that process, that death transformational process is this pearl that is being created here by circumstances that aren't necessarily happy, or you know, it's like you're being forced again here with this energy that's coming out here. I kind of feel that this is the, you know, the choice of being forced into this situation of transformation, you know, of creating something other. That you are this pearl, that you are, or the circumstances around you and life itself is kind of being, is creating this, is creating you. So it's like life is the oyster in a giant kind of oyster way, making this pearl from this kind of irritating situations, or yeah, life's kind of experiences, Taurus, that you've been through. And it's come out, of course, over the top of the Hangman as well here. So, you know, there is this, like, you have to kind of get this new perspective about this being you, the pearl. You are the pearl. You are the light in the darkness. Okay, so I'm going to move on and see why the High Priestess is here. What is the message from the High Priestess? What does she want to tell Taurus today? Apart from to trust your feelings, your inner process as well, very much that she's kind of that pearl process. Layers is also what I'm getting here as well, the kind of different layers of going into your own subconscious and discovering different aspects or parts of yourself that you weren't necessarily aware of or in tune with, Taurus, or accepting even. Kind of that energy here of kind of avoidance, pushing it away, looking away from it. Looking at something else because it seems so more intriguing. Two of air, Gemini energy, Libra energy. This is very much Pisces, Neptune energy, the High Priestess, as is this energy here as well, the Hangman. That's another Piscean energy. Surrender, letting go. This card here, air energy. Usually it's seen as having like somebody who's blindfolded, so she can't see what's going on around her, but it's all about decisions. It's all about having to kind of, in some ways, trust blindly. But I tend to see this card more as a kind of hypnotic, kind of mesmeric type of energy. Like the belly dancer, the kind of, you know, there's all kind of, for me, there's almost this kind of trance state, which is interesting because this can be that kind of energy as well. The dream world, the subconscious, the intuition, the deeper knowing, and there's a similarity again here with these two cards. What I'm getting today is, because this is the energy that's moving away, is this sense of you still kind of not being ready to reveal yourself, Taurus. Like there is this, like, you know, her back is facing us in this card. Her back is facing us. Again, it's kind of, you know, looking away energy, not kind of looking at the thing that's right in front of you, the thing that kind of keeps coming up and saying, you know, deal with this. This transformation is taking place. This is happening. This is kind of, you know, this is the process you are in, Taurus. mind, intellect, logic, air energy, the thinking world. Yeah, and just something about her back being turned and not ready to reveal. Maybe that's the energy that you feel that you are best in at this moment in time. Taurus, this kind of finding of yourself but not ready to actually show who that self is. That you still need to do your own I don't know if it's your own kind of dance, but there is this kind of sense of movement. I'm going to pull another card over the top of this. Why is the Two of Air here with the High Priestess? The Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. Queen of Fire. Very interesting. Very interesting, because she's very full on, very forward facing, very kind of like, you know, looking straight at you. Almost in a kind of daring way. And the Queen of Wands energy is very attractive. It's very magnetic. And I feel that there's a sense of this with this as well. Like I was saying, this hypnotism, this kind of mesmerizing, this kind of alluringness, which she also has as well here, Taurus. There's a sense of dance. Maybe it's kind of that you know, you need to kind of, I'm not saying that you need to dance, but weaving through life as well, kind of, you know, change your dance or your stance or your, because here it's very kind of like, you know, you see the back, it's like she's moving away. She's moving away from this situation, but here she's in her power. She's very strong. She knows who she is. She's full on. She's facing you. She's very kind of sure of who she is. This is what the sense I'm getting here. But also, if you see here, she has this candle which she's kind of holding over her heart, but the heart is kind of being reflected here as well. And there is also this kind of symbolism on her back here as well, which is also over the heart chakra energy. And maybe there's something, I don't know, there's something about kind of, what is it I'm getting here? There's something about you, maybe there's just one person in particular, I don't know, but there is something about somebody who uses their body in a very kind of alluring way. They have a real kind of sense of their own physicalness, shall we say. They're very alluring. They're very hypnotic in who they are. They kind of have this, again, I'm getting this kind of trance-like energy that kind of pulls people in, this kind of magnetism, this kind of like, but then there's something about them as well that they're not kind of willing to open up fully and show that side of who they really are. And maybe, Taurus, this is your energy as well, that maybe this is you being in that dark, you know, this kind of unresponsive in a way, although I don't think it is unresponsive as such. It's tricky. What I'm feeling here is not an easy thing to explain. It's kind of like luring, luring, just by being who you are in many ways, Taurus. You kind of have this very magnetic, very kind of luring, attractive energy again. But then you kind of close off. You're also kind of closed down. You're also kind of like, you know, I will only give you so much of who I am. And then that's it. But this is kind of saying here, this energy that's moving in, Taurus, is kind of saying that you are getting to the stage, and I feel that this is to do with this transformation and death again, that this is the old you and this is the you that you're going to move into. But this is kind of the birthing. This has been around, this is the energy that's moving away. But it's kind of what you are seeing within yourself in a way as well, Taurus, as you go through this process. You are seeing these two sides of your own personality, shall we say. See here, the dark and the light again. And I could also have something to do with this choice here. Which path are you going to take? Which one do you want to carry on being? Because this one, I feel, has led a lot of has led to more sorrow than it has happiness. And you keep walking away from things. You keep walking away from something. It's almost like, you know, you're leaving as the person just sees your back as they walk out, as you walk out the door on them, kind of energy. Whereas this is much more upfront. It's much more kind of like, this is who I am. You either accept me or you don't. Your choice. This is who I am becoming. This is my transformational energy here. This is what I'm feeling here. This is this process here. And even though it is in reverse, I still feel that it's something that you're having to go through. It's like it's a process that is just happening around you, within you. Due to the circumstances that your life has kind of led you down, Taurus. So let's see why we have the Four of Cups and the Four of Swords down here. Again, coming back to that pearl, it's kind of like, you know, it is creating this beautiful pearl at the same time. All these kind of difficult situations that you've had to go through, you are actually becoming this beautiful pearl. And of course pearls are very sought after as well, so that could also have something to do with this energy here. It's kind of being very sought after, but at the same time you're not willing, Taurus, to completely completely commit, maybe, as well. But maybe now you're looking for more stability. But I don't know if that's with anybody else, or whether that is like you've now decided that you're going to be stable within your own energy. That's kind of what I'm feeling more than anything else. Well, they're saying that we do have the Six of Water, and we also have the Queen of Water here as well. So, and this is the subconscious realm. It's come out along with the Four of Cups and this Four of Swords. This being your kind of inner realm, your inner world, and this definitely kind of portrays that. It's a very kind of emotional, dreamy kind of I feel on some level that this is you kind of taking that time out. With the Six of Cups, it talks of nostalgia, it talks of melancholy, but it also says, you know, that there is this kind of child within, which I was talking about earlier. Again, this kind of innocence, if you see here, reflected in the water, there is this little girl. Her hands are together there. That's her face there. It's not easy to see, but that's her there. Blonde hair. And it's almost like she is this person here, reflected in this water down here, which is again what I'm seeing here with this innocence, innocence, innocence. It just keeps coming back, this sense of innocence. And maybe what it's also saying is like, you know, don't judge what has happened in your life by what is going to come into your life. Don't think that it's always going to stay the same just because it's been the way it has been for so long. That doesn't mean that things aren't changing or that there can't be something else. Because here she is, this kind of very kind of, I get this real yearning from this card, like the way she's clutching herself. And again, similar to this energy here as well, it's kind of holding, clutching kind of energy, protecting. But with this card, it's much more on a deeper emotional level. With this card, I kind of feel that it's more about protecting her, maybe protecting her innocence, I don't know. Not sure about that, but with this one I definitely get a feeling that this is more to do with your protecting your inner child from getting hurt. But at the same time there is a longing and a yearning in this card for something that you haven't got in your life, that you really, really want. And it has got something to do with the past as well, because it is about looking back over your life. But again, with this High Priestess energy, I feel it's very similar. The innocence. Innocence lost in some ways. Maybe having to grow up too fast as well, Taurus. That could also have something to do with it here. Having to kind of leave your childhood behind very fast, very suddenly. Something that happened that kind of kept your childlike self in that kind of childlike place, if you like. If you know what I mean. Like, all of a sudden you had to go from, you know, one day you were still this child and then the next day you were trying to be mature and grown up because of something that happened very suddenly. That's what I'm picking up from this here. And with this messenger, sorry, not this messenger, this Queen of Water, it's very emotional, very deep feeling, very sensitive, very in tune with her feelings. energy, which Taurians are very much so in tune with their feelings and their inner depths of emotion, even though they may not like to either show it or on some level acknowledge it to themselves. But I feel that with these two cards here, it was like a part of you has been asleep, Taurus, here for a long, long time. Whatever happened here has brought you like into this space of kind of sleeping. A part of you has been sleeping. Almost like this child energy in some ways has been kind of yeah, sleeping within you. And again, I get this feeling with this High Priestess as well, this kind of innocence again. This energy of this child, this you when you were younger. That you had to suddenly leave that behind. And in order to do that, it was kind of like you put her to bed, you put her to sleep. She had to go into the kind of dream world in many ways. That's what I'm getting here. And it's come out, of course, with these two cards here, which is kind of saying it's time. It's time for you to acknowledge this. It's time for you to kind of like look into your deeper yearnings again, like, you know, why, what fills that hole, that like, you know, the unhappiness. This is the card of unhappiness. This is the card of kind of feeling incomplete in many ways, feeling as though something's missing. Again, I get the same with this card here. But it doesn't necessarily mean that this is about somebody else. Again, I feel, Taurus, that this is about your story. Your story. And I felt that for a lot of the readings that I've been doing lately. I felt very strongly that it is about the individual rather than about anybody else. And I'm sorry if that upsets any of you cross-watchers out there. And it's going to be the same for you as well, whatever star sign you are. I feel very strongly that at this moment in time, whatever it is that we are all going through, it is all about our individual stories. It is all about who we are individually. What has led us to where we are now in our lives on an individual level. Not so much about the people that are involved, whether we're in a relationship, whether we're not in a relationship. I just feel that most of the readings that have been coming out for me, probably very different for other tarot readers, but for me the messages have been very much about the individual person. This is for your story, and it doesn't really involve anyone else. I'm not picking up really on anybody else's energy here. This is just the story of Taurus. So why is the Five of Swords here? Okay. Five of Swords is here because the Six of Earth in reverse is saying that there's an imbalance. This card is all about giving, receiving, balance, rebalancing something. Which makes sense because I feel that this is what you need to do. You need to rebalance your own inner again, it's earth. It's another earth card, Taurus. So it's very strongly that earth energy. And I feel that it is to do with this rebalancing of this energy here with your values. Your values, what you put your time and your energy and your effort into, how it feeds you back, what is it gives you, and what can you give others in order for it to be a two-way process. I feel somehow that there's a learning curve here as well, Taurus. A learning curve here as well, because both of these are in reverse. Yeah, this card being about the choices and the feeling that we don't have the ability to make those choices, almost like, you know, we have to kind of follow that tradition and go with whatever we are given in many ways, and that we can't kind of create something new or change the story up. And I feel that this also has something to do with that energy of you kind of saying to yourself, sorry about that, of you saying to yourself that you aren't going to keep giving your power away, your energy away. This isn't just about kind of financials. I feel as though this is also about you giving your energy to others and not receiving the same kind of energy back, or the same respect, or the same consideration, or just balance. Just balance. It's an unfairness here. There's an imbalance. It's something that's not balanced in your life, Taurus, and that you need to very strongly take that back. Because you have, as a Taurus, I feel many Taurians have this kind of, you know, they want very much to help other people and to give to other people and to nurture other people and to, you know, heal other people. And there's a real sense with the Taurus energy of kind of like, you know, the kind of eternal mother energy in many ways, or the eternal father energy, the wanting to kind of, you know, nurture and protect, and there's a sense here that, you know, that's kind of something that is a part of, because it's such a strong part of your nature that you feel on some level that you can't break free from that. It's kind of deeply ingrained. That's what I'm feeling here, that it's kind of deeply ingrained, and that you can't, you know, just give to yourself without causing an imbalance elsewhere. So you keep trying, you keep giving and giving and giving, and you have done this many times over, and you still keep getting that imbalance. You're still not receiving in the same way as what you're giving out here, Taurus. And maybe that's also part of this death process as well. You need to recognize that, you know, not everybody is going to respond to you in the same way. Receivers aren't always givers, and givers aren't always receivers. That's the big imbalance. But I'm going to put another card over the top of this to see if there's anything else that wants to. Okay, Messenger of Air and the Ace of Air. So there's a truth coming out here. There's a truth. There's something, again, with this sleeping energy here. Very similar cards here again. Only here she's kind of waking up. It is in reverse. But it's come out with the Ace of Air. And for me, the Ace of Air is this truth. This lightning bolt here is this kind of shock of truth coming in here for you, Taurus. Kind of saying, wake up. Although it was in reverse, there is this, for me, this kind of strong, kind of seeing through something very quickly, very kind of suddenly, very kind of like, wake up. This is the truth. See it clearly. And at first, it's going to be a bit of a shock to you, Taurus. And at first, you're not necessarily going to want to accept it either, I feel. Because it's in reverse, you may find that it's something that you don't easily accept. Messenger of air, page of air energy, questioning, needing answers, being open, but I feel that because you are just kind of waking up here, you're just beginning to kind of come to after this deep sleep, and you're kind of really, I feel, waking up to those parts of yourself again, but there's a sudden realization that's going to come in and help you to see the truth of this. See the truth of yourself as well, Taurus, I feel. So quickly I'm going to ask the moon cards for some moon wisdom here at the end of your reading, Taurus, and see what the moon cards want to say to Taurus. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising. Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising, Taurus energy. Okay, let's see, what have we got? Surrender to the divine. Full moon energy. Surrender to the divine. And for me, what that is saying is surrender to this. Surrender to your transformation, because that is what is divine. That is what the divine is saying at this moment in time, is that you are going through this transformation, and all you can do is surrender to it. Allow it to happen. Allow yourself to become this pearl that you have kind of fought really hard against becoming on some level, I feel, Taurus. So that's where I'm going to leave your reading, and I'm going to quickly show you your Namaste blessing card. I always have a Namaste blessing card for anybody who hasn't been here before. I will read it quickly. A blessed heart. If you feel that something is missing, look within and you will find it. That's what I was saying earlier about something missing, feeling like something is missing and not looking without, look within. What is your heart saying? Your heart is the gateway to your soul, and your soul is the eternal you. Know that you are free, protected and blessed. Beautiful. Beautiful, Taurus. I would just quickly let you see that so that you know that I'm not making that up. That is very beautiful. And seems to fit with the rest of the reading as well, Taurus. This transformation, this you that is coming into being. Stop struggling and fighting against it. So the last card here we have is Angelite, self-expression. Again, very fitting. Self-expression. The chakra is the throat and the colour is blue. So it is all about you speaking your truth. It is all about, and I feel that that's what this is about as well, this sudden something's going to come in very fast and you're going to wake up to it and you're going to verbalize it. You're going to start expressing who you are, what you're about, and why you're here. So angels are your unseen friends, always at your side. They are your constant guardians and helpmates. Many of you were incorrectly taught that angels are accessible to you only when you die. Angels are ever near and available to you. Most of you have probably had experiences with angels in your life. Perhaps some miracle occurred whereby you were protected in an accident. Maybe you were stranded with no apparent chance for help when someone happened along. These may have been angelic interactions. Angels are not only in heaven as you picture them. Some angels have volunteered for service on the earth plane. They walk among you every day. You may be working with the angelic kingdom yourself, although you may not be consciously aware of it. If you bring joy, hope, friendship, and laughter into the lives of others, you may be an angel. Other life forms have also volunteered to work in an angelic capacity on earth. There are representatives in all the kingdoms. We are one of these. We are not the only mineral working with the angelic kingdom in this way. Perhaps others in the mineral kingdom will share that angelic work with you. It is our honour to speak with you, human sister or brother. Our colour and name are intended to remind you of the accessibility of angels. Our colour is that of the heavens, the blue sky above you. Our name is significant because we work closely with the angelic kingdom in a cooperative mission here on earth. As a messenger from the angelic kingdom who has chosen to work from the earth plane, we do all that we can to help the earth function optimally. You are aware that the earth's physical and spiritual bodies are under great stress. The continuing pollution and degradation of the earth's land, oceans and atmosphere present a tremendous challenge for all of us working for the earth's good. The earth is a great spirit and will survive, although many of its life forms may not. For the world to remain a viable environment to support life, there must be a cooperation among the kingdoms, an encircling of the planet with a unified front of strength and love. The animal, plant and mineral kingdoms have supported the earth from the beginning. It is the main goal of our group mission here. There was a time when the human kingdom worked with the other kingdoms continuously. However, over the millennia, with your individual pursuits and preoccupations, you forgot that our first directive was to protect our mother, the earth. We do not chastise or blame you for this. Please do not misunderstand. We know that forgetting was important to your learning and growth individually and as a species. Remembering is also part of that plan. All kingdoms have diversions, which lead us from our paths. Ultimately, we return in a fuller way. It is the way of evolution. We call upon you now, brothers and sisters, to use this remarkable talent of self-expression. The throat chakra is the centre of expression, and humans are particularly gifted in using the voice and words. Whether you are more comfortable using words orally or in written form, we ask you to speak out as an advocate for planet Earth and all its inhabitants. Be an example for your fellow humans and also for some non-terrestrials who are gathering here for the millennium. This book was actually written pre the millennium. There is universal interest in this next step of enlightenment for the planet, which the planet is still going through that process, as are we also collectively and individually. And I also kind of feel that because this is all about the earth and Taurus is the earth sign, it is the first earth sign, it relates mostly to Mother Earth. It is a deep kind of connection with Taurus and Mother Earth. And at this moment in time, the way things are, it's kind of, everything's stopped. And Mother Earth has kind of come back to herself. It's like the pollution has disappeared Everything is becoming kind of clearer, the skies are clear. Animals are coming out of forests and wandering around in the streets, in towns and villages, and it's kind of quite bizarre to see all these things happening, but it's almost like the humans have kind of been pushed back into a place of kind of retreat in a way, and like Mother Nature has been allowed to kind of return for a while, which is interesting because I think people are beginning to realise and see the difference between how the world has been and how the world can be. So I will quickly help others realise that for life to continue, there must be a recognition that all of us here are kindred spirits and family. There is only the appearance of separation because of the different physical bodies we have. Think of the difficulty you have in accepting that other humans of different colours, nationalities and abilities are your brothers and sisters. It must be especially difficult for you to accept other kingdoms as part of your family. That's a good point. Talk with others about the need to honour each other and the earth. You may think that if all chemicals, air pollution and landfills were to disappear from the planet, we would have no more problems. In actually, these are small problems. What is damaging planet Earth and all the kingdoms more than anything else is a lack of honour and respect. I think they kind of go hand in hand, really. This may be a new concept for you. All entities need love for survival. Love nourishes each and every one of us. We miss your love, and the being, planet Earth, is horribly ill from lack of it. Help us heal her and ourselves. If you drew our card today, you may be looking for new means of expression. Although your desire is great, you may be reluctant to express yourself in an unfamiliar way. Many of you have been criticised or ridiculed while trying out new skills or using your talents. Unless you can be sure of success, you would rather not risk embarrassment. This fear of failure robs you of your life. You never know what may fulfill you or be a contribution until you try it. Please do not pass up an opportunity because of fear. We promise that the rewards are worth the risk. We salute you, human kings people. Be our voice. Speak for us and tell humans everywhere that our global family needs you all. Join us in saving the earth. So there you have it, Taurus. Angelite. Beautiful crystal. You may want to get hold of some for yourself. It is really about expression though. It's really about self-expression. It's really about you standing up for you and saying who you are, why you're here, what you're about. So if you need a piece of angelite, you'll probably be able to find some online, and you could keep it with you, wear it. So on that note, I'm going to finish this reading and say I hope that you enjoyed it. It has gone on quite a lot longer than I was expecting it to, so I'm going to finish now and say thank you very much for watching. Please thumbs it up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, be greatly appreciated. And Taurus, please take very good care of yourself and others during this particularly difficult time that we're in at present. And once again, have a great Taurus season. Take care.